Hello everybody, welcome to another video. This week we're looking at the 2023 Mazda, there's the mustache, CX-30 Turbo. So this is the top, in Canada anyway, this is the top shelf trim of the CX-30. The CX-30 replaced the always sort of underwhelming CX-3. So I was optimistic. I haven't had a chance to drive this thing yet. I know it came out a while back, but I was hopeful. There are a lot of things I didn't like about the CX-3, although they did improve it a little bit here and there over the course of its life. But you know, an all new entry into this this segment is typically a good thing. And then even before I got the car, I took a look at it, and the first thing I see, and regular viewers will know how much I despise this, is the cladding. Look at this. It's got to be, where are we, 4-5 inches of cladding all the way around this whole wheel well, and then like a foot of it along the bottom of the car. I know why they do it. I mean, it's cost savings, but Jesus, it is, I mean, for me anyway, that is fugly. I gotta tell you, you know, the only offender worse than that sometimes is Subaru. But at least theirs is all jagged edges and weird shapes, so at least it has some sort of theoretically a design aesthetic to it. Cladding aside, it's not bad looking. It looks like a Mazda, doesn't it? You know, Mazda, what do they call it? The Kodo design architecture, and they don't vary much from that. Good looking hood. You got a couple of bends in there, otherwise it's wide open. I apologize for the dust. I washed this thing last night in preparation for this video, and then drove through a gravel parking lot this morning, and well, here we are. So moving on, we get what has become the definitive Mazda face on all across their lineup. A big wide open mouth, nice Mazda badge in the middle, and that's it. You know, they're again more plastic trim along the bottom. Yeah, it's not ugly. It's you know, yeah, decent looking. I like it. Very, again, consistent. And if you like the way Mazdas look, I guess that's a good thing. It does change a bit as we make our way around to the back. You get sort of the rooftop spoiler. The profile changes just a bit, mostly with the hump here in the back. Makes the ass end look a little swollen, a little bigger. I reckon they did that for interior space more than anything else, just because the cargo area here in the back, power lift gate, always nice to see, is pretty small. The floor is relatively high up, relatively speaking, and the storage area is, you know, I mean, it's fine for the daily shop, but Costco's going to overwhelm this thing pretty easily. I got a couple of tents here. Don't ask, we're going camping this weekend. You know, and it's okay. It's, I don't know. It's got a, what do we have? Yeah, it's got a plastic floor panel at least. That's good. None of that cheapy particle board nonsense that you see in some other manufacturers, Nissan. Yeah, it's okay. And I think you get, from the extra hump, you get a little more interior space for boxes and stuff like that. It is nice to see a powered liftgate on this thing. I don't think you saw that on the CX-3. I'll have to confirm, I can't remember. But yeah, that's the outside. This is, I can't remember what this color is called. I always forget colors, but it's a nice looking color. It's an option, like $450 Canadian. Really? There we go. Make me look like a dick. Okay, moving on. So back seat. So here we are in the back. We have Napa leather as usual. Swathed in Napa leather is this particular trim level. You get the center console with cup holders as sort of standard. There's no sunroof back here, so it's a little dark. They've given us a light ceiling panel to kind of brighten things up, but yeah, not bad or anything. It's just, and the roof, so roof line. Okay. Oh, you guys might have seen that bump. It is, I got about an inch from my hat to the ceiling. And again, 5'8". I'm seated behind my own driving position. It's a little tight. Quite tight actually. And that's a bummer. That's a slider, isn't it? So you get down here. There we go. Do it properly, Tracy. Okay. So in the back you get vents, super, no charging ports whatsoever. Sorry about that. That's an ass kicker. I don't get it. Saw it in the HR V2, which is a vehicle this competes directly with. No no charging ports in the back. Whatever. Nobody's listening. I don't understand that. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Excuse me. So, yeah, that's the back seat. It's tight, it's cramped, and there's no juice. Moving on to the front. Oh, did you hear that? I don't know what you guys can and can't hear, but listen. The door is hollow, like it feels thin. And when you close it, it kind of rattles. We'll get to rattling in a minute, because that's something this car does quite well, actually. So, here we are, front seat. Very standard Mazda steering wheel. We've got analog tachometer and fuel gauge, etc. on the right, and then you get a digital bit in the middle. Let's turn the car on, and then you guys can see. Ooh, CX-30. Yay. So customizable driver information here if you want. You know, you can toggle through it, whatever. Change it as you see fit. I do like that center speedo there. That's cool. What else do we have? A bit of piano black, more piano black. Really stupid place to put it. Mazda fixed that in the CX-90, but didn't bother with the CX-30. That's going to get destroyed. You do get separate environmental controls. Very nice. You get a clean dash, two-tone, brownish sort of leather up here. And then black contrast. Seats are black, just black. There's no fancy name to them, etc. You get a teeny tiny sunroof, sort of consistent with this type of vehicle. HRV, as an example, had the same size. And then you get the infotainment system. Well, what can I tell you? It's the same Mazda infotainment system. This one has navigation as an example, so we can, you know, scroll through stuff. You can, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the native system's fine. Actually works okay. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both wired. Yeah, that's it. It's very standard. The big disappointing part about this is that it's still sitting. I don't know why Mazda does this. I mean, this is not touch anyway. I'm pretty sure it's not touch active. It doesn't. Yeah, so it's not touch. And if it was, it would be useless for me because I got stubby arms and I can't reach it anyway. So clearly it's not designed for that. But it does. What they do is they sit it in this little basket. Can you guys see that on the dash here? And I don't get it. The screen is small enough as it is, and it sits low in here, and then as you sit back, I don't know, it just feels sequestered away. And maybe they did that to make sure you have proper visibility through the windscreen, but the CX-90 brings it forward. It's sort of sitting, they fixed it. Anyway, don't get me on a rant, but move it forward. This uses, I think, all the Mazda 3 bits and pieces that way, and I don't like that. I don't like where that's positioned. It feels weird, and it's very disconnected from the rest of the vehicle, if that makes any sense. So here we are. That's the interior of the CX-30. It feels, if I'm honest, which I try to be, it feels cheap in here. It rattles a lot. There's a rattle when you're on a road that's anything but buttery smooth. There's a rattle coming from here somewhere, up in either the headliner or out of this the sun visor. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. I couldn't isolate it by pressing and holding. So, but somewhere there's a rat, and it is actually rather pronounced. So it's a real pain in the ass. And it gets better when you're on a smooth road, but how many smooth roads do you have where you live? We don't have any here. So another thing and look at this sun visor, it is very small. This is obviously fully down. I mean, I think they did it because if they made it any bigger, it would probably, you know, completely block your view. So whatever, but it doesn't give you a lot of protection from the sun. And when you have it over here, and I know it might feel like I'm quibbling, but this is a big deal. When the sun is on your left, the driver's side for us here in North America, sometimes it gets in through this 4 inches and you need a bit extra. Normally, you'd slide it in quality cars. This has this little crappy extension, which is all of about 4 inches, and it doesn't work. The sun sneaks in through the gap all the time. I hate that. My wife's Kicks has that. It just drives me bonkers. Yeah, and the headliner is very thin, very thin. I always worry. Put your hand up there errantly, you feel like it's going to get ripped off or something. I'm not trying to be hateful on this car. I'm really not. But I was I don't know, let's drive and then I can rattle on about how I feel about it. So, into drive. So the 2023 Mazda CX-30, how much does it cost? Well, in this trim mode, this is top shelf trim, comes with the 2.5 liter turbo, because this is actually the, just to give you an idea, this is the CX-30 turbo. So obviously you get the 2.5 liter turbo, gives you anywhere from 227 horsepower to 240, 50, depending on what fuel you use. Do not drive into the gate. And that's, you know, it's fine. I would never put premium in this thing. It feels like a waste, to be honest. For an extra few horsepower, I probably wouldn't notice too much anyway. It is a huge additional expense, especially because they spec 93, which means locally here you're looking at 94 because we don't really have 93. And yeah, that's just an egregious waste. But anyway, you do get a decent amount of torque, 310 pound-feet, I believe, on 87 octane and a little bit more. If you choose to go for the high-powered jungle juice. So yeah, it's the same power plant you can get in the signature trim, well, in several trims of the CX-5, and I loved it in that car. That was a really good driving experience. I enjoyed the hell out of that. In this vehicle, for whatever reason, hold on, I was going to talk price, wasn't I? Yes. So you get the 2.5 liter turbo, all that power, etc. 6-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive, $39,000. I know. It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, it's too much. It's a lot of money. You know, the HR-V was the same way. You know, it felt like a vehicle without a lot of equipment in it, and it's a boatload of money. You know, this is their entry-level SUV. It should be economical, and it's not. It's way too expensive. I was stunned by how expensive this car is, and I just, you know, I mean, it should be under 35, in my opinion. And if you're going to charge $39,000 for it, give it all the bells and whistles. It should be a super high-quality piece of equipment, and it's not. You can see the cost cutting all over the place. Just, man, boggles the mind. I know we get hammered in Canada on car pricing, and I guess that is what it is, exchange rates, whatever, blah blah blah, market tolerance, but man, that is just, that's a bummer. You know, I mean, you can go for lower end trims, that's true, but I don't even like the way this thing is equipped as a top shelf trim, so imagine that. What else? Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually bummed out by this car. It really does disappoint me because I had so much hope, and I love Mazda. I respect them as a manufacturer. You know, they do make curious choices sometimes about what they will and will not include. Just as an example, there's no wireless charging port in this car. Okay, sure, whatever. You know, I don't know if you want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. As I said, you have to plug it in, and you're going to charge your phone anyway, which I think is their methodology for not including wireless charging. But come on, I mean, I don't understand. I really don't understand that. You know, just put a slot in here somewhere in the console, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's completely idiotic. But again, it's not here, and this is a new design, so they won't be, and knowing Mazda, they won't change this for like 8 or 9 years. All right, so I mentioned that this comes with the 2.5 liter turbo. You get a pretty respectable amount of power out of this thing. I loved it in the CX-5. I found that was sprightly, easy to drive, very sporty, light, really enjoyable driving experience. This is the exact opposite. It feels leaden, very numb. The acceleration isn't too bad, nowhere near as good as it is in the CX-5, which makes no sense because that's like a bigger car. So I don't understand that. The biggest disappointment about driving this thing is the brakes. The brakes are numb. They give you, like, it feels like nothing, and then, okay, yeah, you get a little bit of braking. It's, yeah, really actually disappointing. Like, you know, noticing a theme with this review. You really have to push on them, and then they start to catch up. It's weird. It's like they're building up pressure or something, which is silly, but you get my point. I don't know. I like, you know, like feedback, right? I mean, the brakes are supposed to let you know what's going on as you drive, and you get nothing of that from this car. It's a bit of a kicker, really. Acceleration, yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It goes. You know, yes, I know. Truck in my blind spot, or van in my blind spot. Blind spot monitoring system works. It's okay. It's not as electric, and I don't know why it doesn't feel, I don't know if they tinkered with the power band or something. It's weird. It doesn't feel anywhere near as good as that CX-5 did, I can tell you that much. And that's going to be my basis for comparison, because it's the same power plant. So, you know, I mean, they share so many characteristics, don't they? And it's a bigger car, so that should have been much less thrilling than this thing. And yet it's the opposite, which, you know, is sad. Competitors, well, you name it. I mean, there's probably 20 of them. It seems like this is actually modeled quite closely after the HR-V and probably the Toyota Corolla Cross. I haven't driven that yet, but that's kind of their competitor in this particular segment of the market. How does it stack up against those two? Or, well, to the HR-V anyway, because I just drove that recently. Pretty much identical, really. You know, you're paying a lot of money for not a lot of equipment. I think, you know, it feels, I mean, this is brand new. This is the frustrating part. This is a brand new design, or very recent design, and it already feels dated. You know, like cars nowadays, I mean, if you're going to be paying nearly $40,000 for them, you know, some bells and whistles here, kids, let's go, right? You know, if you want to do this right, you look at things like the Hyundai Kona, which just came out with a new redesign. Excuse me. See if I can edit that out. And yeah, I mean, this is underwhelming. And usually with Mazda, you get the trade-off of a superior driving experience. And in this particular car, you don't get that, which really sucks. You know, there are so many other options out there, and they probably drive pretty much the same. You know, the HR-V didn't have anywhere near as much power as this thing. I think it was 155. And, you know, I mean, this goes better, but not as good as you would expect, given the extra, I don't know, it's just weird. Yeah, it's a real bummer. I don't know why Mazda struggles so much with making the small SUVs. They do better with the bigger ones. They truly do. Yeah, the CX-5 was good. The CX-90 is good. You know, there's just something about this end of the market. They just, I don't know, the CX-3 was pretty much crap. This isn't much better. Worse even if you like paint on your car. I don't know. Yeah, it's a buzzkill, the CX-30. I'm gonna be totally blunt with you. Yeah, there are better options out there. Don't buy this one. And that's it. That's enough ranting. That's enough misery. I know I'm going to get a lot of arguments in the comments. Every time I take a definitive position on a car, people shit all over me, and that's cool. I don't mind that, because, you know, everybody has an opinion, don't they? So yeah, register yours below. Comment, yell at me. I'm good with it. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a very great day. If it's sunny where you are, go out and enjoy it. If it's raining, well, go enjoy that too. And we'll see you guys next week.